I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans. And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field. Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum. From the Northwest Bank Studios, it's Williams and Bloom, presented by Mechdyne on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
Hello, welcome to the show. It is the 24th of June, 2026. My name is Chris Williams. I'm joined today by Rob Gray, or I will be joined by Rob. Bring him on in just a minute. I want to thank our friends at Mechdyne, our presenting sponsor, longtime presenting sponsor of Williams and Bloom here on Cyclone Fanatic. We are in the Northwest Bank Studios. Appreciate them. We'll have another Northwest Bank show coming up Sunday. Yeah, it'll be Sunday night. If you haven't yet, it's an evergreen. We did it for people on vacations. Great for like family listening. Brent, Jake, and I, it was last Sunday's show. We went through and we each ranked our top 10 favorite Cyclone football players of all time. Pretty simple, but it turned into a fun show. And we're doing that with basketball. That will be coming up on this Sunday. So look forward to that. Thanks to our friends at Northwest Bank for welcoming us in to do those shows. We went and recorded those like a week ago. So that's where we're at right there. I want to bring in my friend Rob Gray, who one of my best buds, been with us a long time at Cyclone Fanatic. How are you today, my friend? Thank you for filling in on short notice.
Doing all right. Always good to be with you. And thanks for the kind words, my man.
Yeah, it's good to have you. We're going to talk Joshua Jefferson being drafted in the first round last night, which was awesome. We will talk. This is going to be a shorter show, but I also want to hit on some football topics. I just want to, without going too deep on this, because I'm going to do more of it on Iowa Everywhere later. I did want to acknowledge the layoffs at iHeartMedia, specifically here in the local Des Moines market and my old station, KXNO. Nobody here is taking any joy in any of that. Unfortunately, pretty predictable that more of this was coming. If you just look at the modern media landscape, and Rob, with your other part-time gig, like you see it too. It's the corporate media landscape that we're in. Unfortunately, I'll go a lot deeper into it probably later today, maybe tomorrow. I just want to make sure it's measured and thought out how I'm going to approach this. But I just wanted to acknowledge it and not just pretend that didn't happen, because it's a loss for our market. It's a loss for our local population. It's a loss for those people who've lost their jobs today. Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah. You're
okay.
Good.
All of those things, but also, just the further gutting of local content. The human element, of course, we know a lot of people who, you know a lot more than I do, people who have been in that family there at KXNO. I certainly know some, and my heart goes out to them. But I don't know, the corporate types just deciding that national is all you need, skeleton crew, and go from there. But if you don't have any local boots on the ground, as it were, I think eventually you just lose your audience entirely. And what that looks like, it's just sad. It seems to be the model, right? And it's bad for everyone all around. It's bad for quote unquote consumers. It's bad for citizens. It's bad for, of course, people in our industry. So, just a really sad and unfortunately revealing deal all around.
Yeah, you're right. And again, I'll save most of my analysis, but it's why we're doing the local loan thing. And there's multiple ways to do things, and we're not always right. Like I know that, but the problem is that I just don't see these big companies investing into markets our size going forward. I mean, if you look around, just really anything. It's like you got, like, look at the best way I could describe it. Look at our industry now, where you have like the Pat McAfee, like he's going to get like $60 million a year, which whatever, he's probably worth it, to be honest with you. Like he's probably going to bring in that in ad revenue, but like the revenue, like the disparity in, so he's probably getting that. And what is the producer on that show getting paid? Like $50,000, right? Like, so to live on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I guess my point is, like, we're just seeing it, and my fear and why we do a lot of what we do is because New York and LA and Atlanta and like the big markets will keep getting those resources. Unfortunately, we are not. But again, I don't. If you have anything to add to that, you can, Rob. If not, we can move on to Joshua Jefferson. But again, I didn't want to be disrespectful. I wanted to come on here and acknowledge that before we got started.
Sure. Yeah, not really much to add other than the fact that, I just find it hard to believe that many people are all in on a handful of media, quote unquote, personalities, consuming it religiously, because sometimes the thought is more than just the bottom line. I'll put it that way.
Well, it's funny.
There's a market segmentation. There's dominance of I just, to me, the dollar signs would seem to line up with treating all your markets well and having solid profits everywhere and producing the type of content that people want that's localized. But I don't.
I'm guessing what they'll do, and I don't know anything. If you think the people at iHeart are filling me in on their board meetings, you're wrong. My guess is I started to fear this would happen when I started reading the headlines about the potential merger between iHeart and SiriusXM, and thought to myself, well, that's not good. I mean, there's a real world here where they could just throw like college sports radio, the SiriusXM one on KXNO and call it local, or the Big 10 channel or the Big 12 channel, or it's like, and if you think Iowa State's going to you think they're going to play Big 12 radio over Big 10, then you've got another thing coming. So it's just, I don't want to be opportunistic. I don't want to we saw it, like this was going to happen, and it just sucks. Like there's a lot of history at that particular station, and a lot of us have spent a lot of time there, and we all loved it at one point. Unfortunately, the company didn't. You can love a call letters, but they aren't going to love you back, and it just sucks. So
absolutely.
End it right there, and let's go ahead and move on to Joshua Jefferson being drafted last night he's going to be a Brooklyn Net, which is great. And you may have to fill me in. All this stuff was going on, and my phone was exploding on other things. I felt like I was completely distant from the NBA draft, but what was the overwhelming good fit, bad fit? I honestly haven't seen anything. You guys have done all the reporting for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think best fit for Joshua Jefferson would have been a good team. The Nets are a long-suffering team that can't seem to get out of
tortured
its own way.
Franchise. Yeah.
I mean, the deal they made for Julius Randle, I mean, kind of an escape hatch for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They do a lot of head-scratching things, but there's a lot of opportunity there, and they've got some pieces. The Nets always have some pieces. And a versatile player like Joshua Jefferson is going to, if he stays healthy, really have an opportunity to get his feet wet at the highest level right away. Certainly a role player, you would think, but a guy who can contribute in so many different ways, is so good on both ends of the floor, really physical, tough-minded, and again, I mean, he improved his game a lot as a senior. Before the untimely injury in the NCAA tournament, the 34.5% from three is not great per se, but it's a big improvement for him. He never shot better than 31%. So his game translates to the next level really well in terms of minutes, more with the Nets than he would get with, I don't know if the Spurs took him or something, or my favorite team, the Celtics. So I like who they got. And another Big 12 guy, record night for the Big 12 with, 9 first-round draft selections, and the top 2, of course, with BYU's A.J. DeBonte.
Blew everybody else away.
Yeah, so says a lot about the league, obviously, that we know. But, I mean, I think any spot is a good landing spot when you're, a rookie. The Nets it'll be challenging. But, again, in those struggles lie opportunities, too. So I'm interested to see how he takes this opportunity and runs and jumps and it hopefully turns it into a very durable NBA career.
I think Jefferson's legacy at Iowa State will be more of a so he's one of the greatest Cyclones of all time, like, right, All-American, all that stuff. Like, I mean, I'm not taking away, in my opinion, looking forward, I think his big picture legacy will be the guy who they turned into a first-round draft pick, because he was not one when he got to Ames. Because you've seen a lot of these, I mean, first draft picks since Halliburton, right?
Yep.
For Iowa State. I mean, when they got J. Jeff, like, I think they all thought he could be pretty good, but I don't think anybody probably thought they would turn him into a first-round draft pick. And I think, and in fact, I know in this last transfer cycle, like, he was a guy who they used as an example. And, like, I saw a clip last night where him thanking Iowa State fans for turning him into this player. And, like, I think he's certainly not Tyrese Halliburton or George Niang in terms of, like, the personality and all that stuff, but I do think he's a guy who will be around. Like, you're going to see a lot of Joshua Jefferson. I think he'll carry the flag for the program and probably help them in the transfer market going forward. To me, that's like big picture looking down. That's what I see Joshua Jefferson being.
Yeah, I think, again, when they got him out of St. Mary's, he's obviously versatile, the pre-existing relationship with TJ. He wanted to, Las Vegas guy, wanted to go there. Timing wasn't right. The timing was never right until it was. And what a senior season. I mean, Ryan Workman, the basketball sports information director, puts out those meticulously crafted only player to average this, or this, or put up this number, and this number. And Jefferson's unique in his ability to do so many things well. I think the passing is going to translate at the next level a lot. I think his teammates are going to love him in that regard. And yeah, it's a big picture for an Iowa State thing. There's no better advertisement for TJ's first draft pick under TJ as the head coach. Look at how this guy developed in our program, and look at how other guys did too. I mean, you can go back and look at Kurt Jones and what he was able to do with his, initial two-way, and Keyshawn Gilbert off in Exhibit 10. Certainly doing a lot for himself, and on it will go, I think. But you see shades of Joshua Jefferson, and no secret in guys like Singleton, who they brought in. Obviously freshman, not nearly as physically mature, or I guess mentally given, not as much time playing the game at this level. But you see a lot. They're looking for a lot of traits that Joshua Jefferson possesses, and I think that's another testament to his legacy at Iowa State.
Our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 little fact of the day. We probably won't do a full segment on it today because we're in a little bit of a hurry. But as Rob mentioned, a historic night last night. 9 first-round draft picks, which is a conference record, which is saying a lot if you consider how good the conference has been for so long. They had the first 2 picks in DeBanza and Darren Peterson, of course. They had 4 in the top 10, and then really loaded up picks 24 through 30, 4 of those 6 picks. One of those, of course, was Joshua Jefferson. But, like, to me, like, that just and what that tells me is it's about the coaching in the league. And, this is a deal that the reason these guys keep coming, it's not like it's really not what it used to be, because if it was just about like legacy and stuff, it would be like the ACC and like the Blue Bloods all the time. Like the Big 12 coaching, it's just where guys who are first round draft picks want to play right now, and there is like a real brand with it, even if it doesn't perform the best all the time in the NCAA tournament or whatever. The brand of Big 12 basketball is we are the best, which is fun. I mean, it's why we get so jacked up to cover Big 12 basketball, and it's why fans get so fired up about it. It's a real challenge for the football. As we're gonna go into the football here. In my opinion, it's a huge challenge. It's kind of like when the Big East was playing football, right? This basketball brand is as good as it has ever been, even if it didn't win like a national championship this year or whatever. And I just thought, like, last night not only proved it, but it knocked it out of the park. That was just a really great night for the league. And we knew they would be top heavy in the top 10. We didn't quite know exactly what would happen at the end, but that was pretty freaking awesome to watch all those guys come off the board.
Yeah, and I think it's really illustrative of all that it was top heavy, as you mentioned, 4 of the top 10, but then 4 of the final 6, 7, whatever it is.
Yep.
So
4 of the final 6.
A lot of these tweener guys, look at a guy like Henry Vassar, a guy who started at Arizona, really blossomed at North Carolina this year. I'll take my Celtics as an example. They took Chris Sinak. Instead of him, and fit-wise, I mean, obviously, you take youth, you take athleticism potential a little bit versus an older guy that isn't quite as explosive that way. But Vassar hit 43% from 3. He'd never been above 35, so that's a big who can really shoot it. Sinak, 33%. I mean, but so many tools to work with. So when you were looking at guys and you were looking at, it was Big 12 guys that were, when you were looking at best available, it seemed to be left that the Big 12 guy was the one being taken. Heck, there was a poor young fellow from Duke, I believe, who was invited to attend the draft, and I don't believe he was drafted in the first round, as I recall.
It's always the worst.
So, and watching some of those guys where they think they're going to go maybe 12 and they finally get taken at 22, it's interesting to see some of them. You can tell they're just kind of like, wow, they're kind of like not happy, sort of in a way. But others are just relieved because it finally came to. So it's watching it is it's all bittersweet stuff, because just how much is wrapped up in those dreams, and they all talk about the hard work. Everyone works hard. All the guys who didn't get drafted work hard too. All the guys who never made it out of the 12th slot in the rotation worked hard too. But that's the one thing that I always talk about doing, and even though it's cliche, it's because that's what comes to mind when they think about things coming to fruition, just how much they grinded. And we're going to see where Taman Lipsey ends up in all this too. I mean, a guy who's, I think it was a foregone conclusion initially that he would not get drafted, and that now he's showing up here and there on some draft boards for possibly late in the second round. And I think Taman, if he stays healthy, really has a chance to have a nice, find a nice niche for himself in the league as well.
All right. While we have Rob, I do want to talk a little bit of Iowa State football. Is where, man, Media Day is 2 weeks from today. Iowa State will be on the stage down there in Frisco. Want to thank a couple of our sponsors here on the Wednesday show. First of all, Gravitate Co-working, been with us for a really long time. They got the new location over in Cedar Rapids, so if you're an Eastern Iowa Cyclone and you're looking for workspace, remember our friends at Gravitate Co-working. More on that at gravitatecoworking.com. Also, my friend Hope Wood, I just referred a friend to her last night to get your will done in a day. They do wonderful work. Also, last but certainly not least in this segment, our friends at the Iowa Clinic. I have been promoting them for a really long time. Man, I don't remember how long, but they've been one of the first sponsors that we had come on to the show, which was really cool that they're still with us, and we appreciate it. I like to brag about their urgent care because I've had when you have young children, urgent care is such a freaking, I don't know how like our parents did it when you didn't have urgent care. I don't think that we had urgent care in small town Iowa. My calls. God. It is the one in Ankeny, like you check it online, you see the wait times, like it's so convenient. We use it all the time, like probably 10 times a year. We've had to use that with young children. So anyway, shout out to them. Rob, we're going to have this conversation a lot, and I'm really enjoyed, probably more than I thought I would, getting to learn about all these new players. And what I've started to do is sink my teeth into this Washington State defense from a year ago. It's really intriguing. And, I think part of the intrigue, too, comes from how Iowa State's played the last 10 years compared to how they're going to play next year. And it's just kind of fun to learn a new system. I felt like I knew everything there was to know about the dime stack by the end of it. And it would drive you crazy, and then it would work, and then it would drive you crazy, and then it would work. And, it was just this – I've convinced myself that Iowa State, even injuries be damned, is going to be pretty good on the defensive side of the football. I also have convinced myself, boy, the preseason hype train's full bore in my head right now. I think their offensive line's going to be pretty good. I'm just wondering how they're going to score points. And Tyler Roll thinks they can. He's a smart guy, like the quarterback, like the starting running backs, not crazy about the depth there. Questions about wide receiver. Don't really care for the tight end room. I hope that they come out and surprise me. I don't think they're bad. I don't see like a dynamic playmaker there. You don't have like a Ben Bramer in that room. I want to clarify my wording there. I don't know. But I've convinced myself that this is going to be a team that will compete for a bowl game in one way or another. Where are you at? Just kind of broad expectations.
I think they'll be right in that mix. And of course, Vegas, what did it open with?
5.5.
Under 5.5. So that puts them squarely
right
in
there.
That range, especially you bring in the APR into the equation. If you don't want to go 5 and 7, but with this massive transition and massive overhaul, getting to a bowl game again would be a big deal. Not as not the old 6 and 6 as kind of deal that became kind of a trap, or it felt like a crutch a little bit. But I think the pieces are there as well. I'm a little bit more wait and see on the O-line. I think there are enough. Getting a whole new group to mesh like that, Thornton can do it. That'd be fantastic.
Great point. I think they've got the talent. I think that the meshing would be the big challenge there, no doubt.
And kudos to Coach Thornton if he can do that, and obviously all the coaches and the players themselves too. And I go back to what Roger said about watching the team organically grab it, do things together, and it wasn't always just position groups, and I think that's good too. Just you get that sense of team, and then then you're segmented. Then when you're in camp, you're doing your stuff. I just feel like it's come together as well as it possibly could, given the very, frankly, dire circumstances when Coach Campbell left and all the things that ensued after that. So I'm totally on board with that defense. I think the defensive line. Just the difference in philosophy, and you talked about the dime stack, and we both love Coach Haycock, and it's borderline miraculous what he did with that defense sometimes, given the injuries the past two seasons. Whether it be, total defense not great, giving up yards, but still kept that scoring defense very solid. Yeah. All the things to do to keep yourself there. Keep in mind all the injuries at linebacker that made the defense susceptible to a lot of big plays that came in a record-setting 11-win season. So that said, you're going to see such aggressive defense versus a very calculating. I like to say that it feels like Jesse Bobbitt's defense is like, we're going to go beat you and press the issue on you, whereas Sean Haycock's was, we are going to grind at you and lull you into a sense of not contentment, but just you feel like you're okay, and then you are going to kill yourself.
You're just waiting for the college quarterback to screw up.
Yeah, so it's attack versus death by 1,000, or
honestly,
forcing them into it. So yeah, go ahead.
That was kind of Wally Burnham's philosophy too.
Oh yeah, he had less to work with, but yeah,
we've had a 15-year run here of very passive defense at Iowa State, and it's about to flip the script for good or for bad. We'll find out.
Well, I think that's because outside of those outlier years, with and we could throw Ray Lima in there, but especially with Will McDonald, of course, and then when Ennie's on the line with him and Jaquan Bailey is, I mean, you had those outlier years where you had a really good defensive line, and I remember going back to Paul Rhodes' era, a lot of highs in that era, a lot of lows. But one of the things Paul would always say is that's the hardest position to recruit, defensive line, to Iowa State, and they kind of flipped that a little bit, but then as we saw towards the end, they had some nice guys. I mean, was Tama McDonough a nice player? Yeah, he made those huge plays against Iowa. As big as Kyle Converti's second 54-yard game winner was, those sacks he had.
Yeah, huge.
But two, I don't know if you have another sack all year. Maybe it was two of his three, or it was all. So not to, but those guys weren't game changers like a Will McDonald. And when you don't have game changers on the D line, you can't pressure the quarterback, obviously. And the sacks last year, Washington State 29th nationally with 31, Iowa State towards the bottom of the FBS barrel with 13. So you're flipping those numbers 31 to 13. And I think with guys like Terrell, all the other pieces of guys coming off injury like Balloon, mostly Washington State guys, but a lot of good guys they brought in, and a lot of guys they, of course, retained, like your Jace Gilberts, etc. They're going to be pressing the issue up front, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I think the other thing, too, that I just keep having in the back of my head, and it pisses a lot of fans off when I say this, but I don't care. It's what I truly think. I just don't know how good the Big 12 is across the board. Mm-hmm. And I think that you can translate what they were doing at Washington State. Like that Washington State team, if you give it like a normal Big 12 schedule, is probably 6-6. Like they went 6-6 last year, but they were playing that weird schedule where, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
But you know, one of the games I've watched is that Ole Miss game, and you know, maybe an outlier, maybe they were taken lightly, I don't know, but they were right there. And if you talk to those guys, they feel like they should have won the damn football game. So I think those guys, like, I just don't think this is like a jump of we hired a MAC coach and then all the MAC players are coming. Like, maybe it's comparable. I don't truly know. The one thing that is a little weird, like up front, the size is pretty good. It's like, are the linebackers, but they're built to be fast. So it's like the holding up thing, but I don't know if it holds the amount of weight that it did 6-7 years ago, because I just think the Big 12 is different now, right? And the league is just vastly different. So I think we have to readjust how we look at this, and I'm still kind of learning how that should be, right? Like it used to be you had to plan your defense like what they were doing with around the air raid. And, you know, all these spreads. Well, you look at Big 12 football now, and it's not necessarily that. It's a lot more. It's kind of gone back, and it's more of a physical league. And like so maybe I don't know. You know where I'm going with this? Like I don't think the holes I would normally point in, I just don't know if they're accurate anymore. And we're about to find out. And they're not alone. West Virginia's doing this. Oklahoma State's doing this. I'm sure some other program. Like TCU just changed its entire offense. Completely changed its entire offense under a guy who was a spread worshiper for the last 20 years. Okay, so there's a lot of change in this league. And if you're organized and if you have some talent, if you win the turnover battle, you're going to have a shot. And that's what's exciting about this. Like I refuse to compare this to Campbell's first year, which a lot of people are going to do. It's not the same thing.
No.
Jimmy had a payroll, and granted, it's not one of the biggest in the league, but he was out to go out and pick who he wanted under those terms. And like the Campbell deal, like when they took over, like you just couldn't do that because it was a different era, and you kind of just had what you had, and the whole changing the culture thing, it was like a real thing that took forever. Like you can flip it pretty quick. I know they lost all these guys, and I don't think that they're going to be 10-2. I just don't think this is like a 3-9 team though.
No, I mean, I think a lot of things would have, again, when you can lay a foundation of having a very strong defense right away, an aggressive attacking defense that can produce takeaways. Again, an area that Iowa State largely struggled in recent years. And again, Tyler Rule, you talked about him. His offense is going to be ball control. The hammers, not nails. And and just try to beat teams down behind that, as you said, talented but unproven. I don't know if there's two words that ever go together better than talented but unproven when you're talking about an Iowa State offensive line. But you have the recipe for that type of potential for success. Get to a bowl game, have a winning record. That's all on the table. And another thing I'd go back to in Campbell's first year, outside of Era's payrolls, what you talked about, as big as the whole, you wrote about it in your book that I was fortunate enough to help you with, the genesis of that stack. And it came out of that one Akron game. Well, think about the Iowa game in year one, just a few games in. I think Matt and his staff found out who wanted to play, who was tough enough to play for Iowa State. You saw very different lineups after that game. I think that was, oddly enough, one of the most important games of the Campbell era, 42-3, I think it was. Just an absolute beatdown.
Absolutely.
Utterly embarrassing. Just looked like the guys weren't able to compete again. And it's a throwback to Hayden Fridays against Iowa, where, famously, I believe Iowa State tacked on a field goal one game to lose. I'm just going to make it up, 55-3. And one of the Iowa athletic department fellows stood up and did a golf clap. So it felt like that kind of thing. But in that difficulty, in that angst, Iowa State started to forge an identity. And you do that by figuring out who you got, who you can roll with, and who you've got to say, you ain't rolling with us. And I think Rodgers and his staff are really smart about how they put together a roster. I think they proved that in one season at Washington State with a much smaller payroll to get that team to bowl eligibility in a bowl game. They won, of course, with Jimmy not coaching the team in that game. They have what one continuation is, these guys believe they can win at the highest level. They believe they can compete for Big 12 championships, and they're not just saying it to blow smoke. They truly believe that. Now, can they? That's what you got to prove. Iowa State competed for Big 12 championships twice under Matt Campbell. Didn't get it done in either one, but there's no reason that can't be the high-end goal and expectation, while just trying to maintain solid seasons all around that.
Well, Rob, it's been fun. It's always good to get you on here. I think we have pretty good conversations, and we'll do it again soon. You're kind of in your, what do we call it, the Rob Gray hibernation mode? Yeah,
a little bit. Obviously, I come out to help a little bit when other guys are on vacation, like getting the stuff up quick on.
Jake's
Jefferson
on his way back
night.
today, so you'll be off the hook.
I'm always happy to help. Good to see you, my man.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy. Rob Gray, old time buddy. We've been doing this a long time together. Hopefully we'll do it another 20 years or so. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. However you're taking the show. We are presented as always by Mech Dine in the Northwest Bank Studios. Later.